All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Osumania LN Tournament 4th edition, coming back for yet another jam-packed round of 16 matchup. As we have here is going to be none other than Senzawa going up against Darkhechiser. Once again, going into this round of 16 bracket, this is going to be one of the last few. I believe this is the last match that we have of the round of 16 here. So both these players already have quite a bit of history with each other, and they're going to be facing here in this bracket. I believe this is a losers bracket, actually. Yeah, they're going to be facing here to see who's going to be eliminated. Oh my goodness, I don't. This is. Yeah, okay, this isn't a loser bracket. Whoever wins is going to be facing Stereotype over in the quarterfinals bracket. But before we get onto that, as usual, I'm your host, EpicMan2, and joining alongside me, as usual, is going to be none other than Potterage, who's also reffing the match. So, what's rocking, first of all?
All right, let me just set the first protect to Raindrop Wildcard 2.
Nice.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just came back home. I'm here for a pretty late match, and my time is about 9 p.m. for me, but you know, I had to take the advantage of the map bias throat, you know? Like, I gotta, like, try and ensure that we have some action going on, since, you know, we're on a bit of a shortage in terms of available stuff, but we should be good for this one. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Like, I do have to fill multiple roles with multiple shoes in this one, but it is what it is, but it is fairly manageable anyways.
Indeed, and we can definitely see that with the first few protects being thrown out as well. Going to be Wildcard 2 and Coordination 3. Pretty interesting choices. I don't think I've necessarily seen these two maps being protected as much based on the matches that I have at least seen, but pretty good ones nonetheless. And we're going to be seeing Tech 1 being banned out as well. So that's going to be Kamui being removed off the map pool. And then it's Density 1 getting the ban hammer as well. So that is Full Metal Darkhechiser being taken off the board.
Darkhechiser. I love the random challenge thrown in there just for good measure. But yeah, Senzawa going to be banning Density, and Darkhechiser are going to be banning Tech 1, so it's going to be interesting to see like the meta between the two players. The two players who are in fact from the same country, so it's going to be a little bit of a fun bro to bro, so to speak, showdown here.
Yeah, this is a one-on-one between the Mexicans here of the tournament remaining, just to see who's going to be unfortunately going for that friendly fire, as this is seed 37 versus seed 34. So both these players definitely quite reputable when it comes to LN game in general. It's really just down to how well they can at least maintain themselves, and we're going to be seeing all of that being settled first on none other than Tech 3. So that is Emerald Syndrome, the, dare I say, more flam-oriented tech map as we've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, an interesting starter. We haven't seen many matches start with that one. It's like a kind of a more niche pick, I want to say.
Yeah, definitely so as well, because this map is definitely one of the more technical tech maps that we have in the map pool alone. Just the fact that it utilizes a lot more of these less conventional patterns to kind of give it the flavor that it has on its own. So it kind of holds its own ground as a strategic pick that you'd want to see. But again, I'm not sure if either of these players are playing necessarily for strategy, but probably more for fun. And contrary to most of the other matches that we have seen throughout this weekend, which were very, very competitive. But obviously, I'm down to be proven wrong, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, some of the competitors from, from similar countries. I know, like, some Chinese players also kind of had some friendly fire here and there. Like, several times over the course of the tournament, even.
Yeah, exactly. I think like when it comes to matchups like these where it is a 1v1 and you're facing a player of the same country that you are in, it's literally like if you were to like start crying holding the gun pointing at like, you know, your best friend or something. But obviously that doesn't mean you can't, but obviously it's different here, because at least it doesn't mean that you're risking someone's life here, or well, maybe in a tournament, but of course not in IRL, because that would be awful. So, you know.
Yeah, I can
Hey.
only imagine like if one of the OMLN4 matches were taking place IRL as kind of a LAN party sort of. But let's get back to the match. The two players are actually tied together. Look at that.
Damn. Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a bold start into the match. Wow.
Ooh, some loss of accuracy coming from Darkhechiser ahead. Not too far apart from Senzawa yet. Not any misses so far.
Yeah, pretty drastic drop right there. Definitely gonna try and shift the things over to the favor of Senzawa here, but it's not by very much either. Only a few hundred points to spare, and it can definitely switch over at any point given in the match.
Yeah, it seems like a consistency so far at Darkhechiser is looking a bit more unstable than Senzawa. Senzawa is actually building up the accuracy back up to 99.7 almost, aiming for that 990 for that sweet 990k.
Yeah, exactly. Darkhechiser is doing a really good job being able to recover the accuracy department as well, but unfortunately not going to be too much as Senzawa just approaches the funny number in 0.00 terms for just a second before it goes down by 0.02 percentage as it goes back up, but the scoreline still just slightly increasing a little higher than it was just prior to that. Going to be just breaching above the 1,000-point marker, going off with some additional misjudges from the side of Darkhechiser. There really just needs to be some sort of signs of light coming out from them soon, as Senzawa is probably going to like take a drop somewhere in the map, but I can't be the one hoping for that one, of course.
Yeah, Senzawa reaching that sweet 990k spot here, marked by the 99.7% accuracy right now. That Darkhechiser is not quite making it back to 99.6, so there's going to be a substantial gap between the two players right now. 3,000 points might not sound like a lot, but it is a substantial lead, marked by maybe a few dozen 200s.
Yeah, exactly, and it's definitely something that we have seen with a fair portion of these really close matches that we have going into this weekend, where we kind of cleared off like the first portion of some of the players in the tournament, and especially in the winners bracket and the losers bracket even, we see a lot of other players kind of facing each other, and it definitely gets a lot more difficult from here when you realize that you're being pit up against some of the more skillful players that are exactly around your level here. So definitely very prevalent within this match already, as Senzawa gets that first point intact, going to see if we can continue on with the maps, whether it's going to be yet another technical map or if it's going to be another category being thrown out here.
Yeah, gonna be chaining back into density number 3. Let me just set that as the referee of the match.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a bit of a fair choice from the side of Senzawa. I mean, definitely something that allows for some consistent competition, really, just to try and like get just a bit of an accuracy check and consistency check as well, because the map doesn't really have that much breaks incorporated within the map itself. So definitely makes sense to throw this out early as like a safe pick, just to test the waters of what's to come. Maybe wanting to save density 2 for later in the match when you really need to try and get a point and you want to be able to try and exploit that of the stamina that the other player has, really.
Like, as far as the player pick indicator goes, it is marked by the background color of the paper within the song, the current song marker. Like right now, there's a light shade of red. It means that Senzawa just picked this one. It's gonna be a light shade of blue for Darkhechiser.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a cool feature that we can throw into here for the overlay just while we're at it, for, you know, the additional experience for you viewers. But yeah, going past that first intro section, we are going into just a bit of the meat that the map has to offer. We have some of these piano streams. We have basically what you'd expect from a usual density map, where it's kind of broken up into streams, and we can definitely see that Darkhechiser has a small, teensy-weensy bit of bias in their side in terms of the score, but it's not really that much to actually be considered favorable here.
Yeah, honestly, like both of those players look to be on the same trend of ratio so far, and it kind of translates into the result we're seeing right now. Very similar accuracies. Some accuracy drop coming from Senzawa right now. It is their own pick, so they're looking to be broken pointed, if that's even a word.
I mean, yeah. You definitely kind of hit the mark there in terms of like the fact that both of these players kind of do want to try and break a tie when it comes to at least trying to see if you can break a point out of the other opponent's pick. And we can definitely see that that is probably Senzawa's intention here, knowing that both these players have an FC on the board. It's really just down to the raw accuracy alone to keep each other in the equation. But so far, both these players have been keeping each other in check so well. And Senzawa just really is praying for that one misjudgment from the side of Darkhechiser to come out, but going into the ending, I don't think it's very likely going into the final few cores, as it's only just 100 points. Wait,
what were you saying? What were you saying? No way!
No. Wait, watch the ending. Watch the ending. No. You're kidding!
Darkhechiser was leading up until the ending, and you just had to open your mouth and give the point to Senzawa. What is Epic Man 2 doing?
Dude! Come on. No, this does not happen! This didn't happen. This didn't happen. No, you can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me anything, okay? You can't tell me anything. Senzawa did not get 50 perfects less and 2 greats less than Darkhechiser, okay? There's just no way.
Damn, man. I just have to set things straight here. Let's get the facts straight, man. You just cursed that. Like, that single 200 and the ending. Blame Epic Man for me. Yeah, get that.
Yep, that's it, guys. I've been caught red-handed. My job's over. I'm getting a cease and desist from Nintendo tomorrow. See you all later.
Bye-bye. Let's invite Epic Man 3 in the booth right now.
Yeah, sure. One sec.
Welcome, Epic Man 3 to the booth. Rest in peace, Epic Man 2. You were a huge contribution to our commentator cast, but now we do have to sell in the new blood.
Buenos dias, folks. It's your boy, Epic Man 3. Well.
What the hell was that intro?
I mean, I have to make a bold impression, you know what I mean? Like, especially with Wildcard 1.
Good first impression. Yeah, just gonna set the first impression. That's why like VTubers have debuts and so on. But I digress. So let's go into the next pick, which is gonna be wildcard number 1. I'm just looking at the seeds of the two players, seed 37 versus seed 34. It is not a surprise that like this matchup is like as close as it is.
Yeah, exactly. It is definitely quite the thing that opens up for quite a bunch of unexpected opportunities and outcomes, etc. As we have been seeing for a lot of the matches, it is very, very common trait when it comes to the personality of a bunch of these matches in question. But I mean, speaking of bold impressions, I feel like this is the type of thing that Darkhechiser kind of needs, especially when it comes to some of the more technical maps, just trying to throw them out here right after we had Tech Free. But this map is definitely quite the vast difference from Tech Free in question because of how it's a lot more because of how it's a lot more reliant on a lot of these really unorthodox rhythms and so on.
Yeah, and I feel like the unorthodox dimension of the map is playing right into Darkhechiser's hands right now, as Senzawa is dripping more and more accuracy. They were going down into the 99.5 territory, catching back to the 99.6, but like the advantage coming from Darkhechiser is like the biggest we've seen so far in this match.
Yeah, what lies within the scoreline of Darkhechiser is that they are doing just as exceptionally at being able to act a lot of these really odd staggered releases with a bunch of these shields thrown in, some of these one-handed bias patterns that throw in some of these really intrusive, basically hidden mini jacks that we have here to kind of really add into the flaws that you as a player may have, trying to see if it can catch you out. And it's been working out in favor of Darkhechiser being able to capitalize on that score difference. But even then, that's going to be a bit of an actually drop as well, as the scoreline drops to about 2,500 points, as we could see, but still not enough to get it up to Senzawa just yet here.
Yeah, Darkhechiser not out of the woods yet, just dropping some slight accuracy, and Senzawa making their way back, but being settled back by 1,200 here, going from 99.67 to 99.65, and the ending is coming faster and faster, as the song speeds up as well.
Yeah, final stretch of the map. This is going to be the BPM increase, but just as it started, it's already over. You have the final 13th chord come in, and that is it. Watch those final releases and the additional note on the first column, and you've basically done it. 990k on the side of Darkhechiser, and even then, the Ratios battle was really close in terms of perfect. It was just the grace that separated the two by a whole 10 in integers.
Yeah, really interesting ratio difference versus like 200 difference here.
A very good weight and a very good start to the points that Darkhechiser is going to be aiming to try and reach for, as well as it's going to be the next pick on wildcard 2 as well. That's going to be one of the protects being thrown out here. Coordination Free going to be saved for later, as it is Senzawa picking into their own protect right here.
Yeah, going to be an interesting change of dynamic here, with Raindrop, a very shield-oriented shield center pick. So going to be testing the combo ability of both of the players here.
Yeah, and especially here, I feel like that's the type of maps that both these players really need, especially since going into the wildcard category, and it seems like this is going to be a bit of a this is the second wildcard after the first wildcard that we have seen in this round alone. So definitely interesting to see this one being thrown out as well, although this one is vastly different because it does kind of pick up on the roots that were on the ground of wildcard 1, but kind of puts it in a bit of a more straightforward format, as it's basically just the typical more straightforward jazz-oriented inspired song that you would usually see in certain rhythm games, for example.
And Darkhechiser is actually locking in for this pick, but Senzawa not far behind here, just catching up to 99.7 mark. Just be careful. Darkhechiser has to be ever so slightly careful about, not careful enough, dropping 0.03% here.
Oh yeah, okay, the score difference is looking really unsafe here. Only a few hundred points to spare on the side of Darkhechiser. Any mistake here is going to swing that lead over, but we do see Senzawa bleeding out some of the judges here, but so does Darkhechiser. The lead only just proves that it's very variable on the side of Darkhechiser, and we can see just glimpses of it going into double-digit score lines on the side of Senzawa here, making that Dr. Mario Pill on the top as it goes into the side of Senzawa as it starts bleeding over to there.
And just like an F1 car, the overtake has been engaged by Senzawa going into the last stretch of the track. Last corner here.
Yeah, still so much of the map left. This is going to be into the final 6 and 8 of the map. There's still so much of that map left, but Darkhechiser takes a bit of a drastic drop that's going to bring everything into the favor of Senzawa once again.
Yeah, honestly, like this advantage coming into the end of the map is like looking insurmountable for Darkhechiser, unfortunately. So this is going to be Senzawa's point.
Yeah, and a very good one to take as well on that note. 200 perfects under that of Darkcheiser's score, and a very good distance away from their one as well. As much as the lead has been pretty close, as much as this tournament is stacked, we still see a lot of these really small score discrepancies. We don't even see it in the 10,000 area, for example. So it is definitely something that comes as super crucial for both these players. But Darkhechiser next in line to pick. It is 3-1 to Senzawa right now, and it's going to be Tech2 that gets the next pick that is going to be missing.
Yeah, like this map in particular, I hope the players don't go missing the notes, especially towards the later half, which
Oh
goes
yeah,
really intense. And
yeah, of course.
yeah,
Mm.
I'm not like really familiar with the language, but I dare say that they are going for sight reads, which is dangerous in this pick in particular.
I mean, me no speak Espanol either, so it's okay. All we can do is just try and at least assume what they're saying here. Yeah.
Yeah, GLHF to the players, and let's go into the pick itself. They are mentioning mind blocks being a parameter in their success, and it is worth mentioning that if you sight read everything, you cannot mind block anything. So that is a valid strat.
Hmm. Okay, so kudos to Muchi for this in the Twitch chat right here. Senzawa is saying that he is sight reading every single pick that Darkhechiser makes on the board. So pretty interesting tactic, I must say. But at the same time, that kind of opens for a bunch of risks because if we have seen that all of the maps that Darkhechiser has picked so far were actually sight reads from the side of Senzawa, then damn, he's doing a pretty good job being able to pull out a bunch of these scores either way.
Yeah, going into this pick, we're definitely seeing Senzawa's like superior ratio abilities once again that we've seen on Raindrop.
Indeed, looking to be pretty good for the side of Senzawa right now as they manage to keep this stability in place, not going to be allowing any of these late and early releases coming out before we see some minor misjudgments on the side. But the score still flickers nonetheless. Darkhechiser being able to capitalize, being able to make sure to keep Senzawa in check here, because this is one of the points where it's going to become super important now that Senzawa is 3 points ahead of the equation, going to literally one step away from match point, and that's going to put Darkhechiser in a very bad position if it does come to that outcome.
If it does come to that outcome, indeed, because Senzawa is not completely out yet. 99.75, while 76 now is not too far ahead of 99.67. Darkhechiser doing their best to catch up to 99.7, but yeah, Senzawa just has to hold the accuracy just alive. They can see their scores right now just in that flash of break, and we are going into the later half, which is more intense.
Yeah, exactly. Scout telling you to think fast, chuckle nuts, as we do get that stare down for both these players here, only for just a solid second, not being able to see the score difference for that much. But even then, the score difference is close to none, still going to decrease and jump between different hundreds by on the side of Senzawa here. Going into this final quarter, there's still so much of the map left, and even then, there's still only 0.05% that separates the two players in terms of accuracy, as Darkhechiser recovers the accuracy just a bit to reach the amount that Senzawa has accumulated thus far. But we're going close to the end of the map. Any mistake from Senzawa is going to bring it out of their hands.
Yeah, right now, Senzawa looking as consistent as they have been throughout the entire match. So, not much of a window of opportunity for Darkhechiser so far. Senzawa is just on fire right now.
Yeah, come on. Darkhechiser really needs to be able to try and tie it up together, because it can basically just happen in a span of a few seconds. But despite that, that window of opportunity that was open, Senzawa is going to be closing it right on his fingers and bringing it over to the match point. 4-1 right now. Darkhechiser on the brink of their tournament lives right now. Add one more point to the side of Senzawa, and it is over for them in the Osumania LN Tournament 4th edition here.
Well, they are attempting to pick Kamui, but in fact, it has been banned by Darkhechiser, unfortunately.
Whoopsie daisy.
It is something that can happen, but fortunately, the ref sheets do remind us of what has been banned or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, but that aside, like for the side of Darkhechiser, there's still a bunch of maps on the board here to pick from, especially since you're gonna have to win at least 3 of these maps to force tiebreaker if you want to maintain your chances of being here. But it seems like it's gonna be Senzawa going to be picking into coordination 3, so picking directly into their opponent's protect.
Dang.
Oh, there.
That is a statement. 4-1, picking their opponent's protect, just getting into their head for the final point, potentially. Bro's going for the mental damage, as he says, and we are going in.
Right out the mouth that I was going to open as well. That is definitely something that's going to put a bit of a mental toll on the side of Darkhechiser here, but who knows? Maybe Darkhechiser still has the opportunity to be able to prove everyone wrong here, as there's still quite a bunch of options left on the board if it does come down to Darkhechiser taking a point off of this one alone, because surely the opponent picking into the protect of the opposite has to mean something.
Yeah, let's see how that pans out for Senzawa. Maybe Darkhechiser still has a window of opportunity to catch up, but like so far within the match, the accuracies have been looking close enough that Darkhechiser still has the occasion to catch up. The remontada, as they say, could still happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to have to come down to a place where it is highly important, especially on the fact that both these players have been doing pretty well throughout this whole match, and that all these maps so far have not been that easily won under any circumstances. I don't think we've even seen a miss going into the whole match either, which is definitely something that should come as a note to both these players by default, and the scores are flickering up there.
Yeah, still really close accuracies, and I feel like that's been the story for every single pick so far. Very, very stable performances. We haven't seen a lot of like combo breaks, if any at all, within this match.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that sets the precedent for these kinds of matches going into the halfway point of the whole tournament, that all these matches are going to become scary when it does come down to everyone still FCing a bunch of these maps. Even if we see it in quarterfinals, that's going to be sending shivers down the spine of these players, and that alone is something that's going to really play into the nerve factor here. And we can still see that with the scoreline being close to none, only reaching that of double-digit scores, only reaching under 50, as we do see sevens on the side of Darkhechiser's side, and that's going to really spell out problems if it does come down to some raw misjudges on the side of Senzawa, if it does come down to that.
Yeah, Senzawa dropping some crucial accuracy there. Like, just dropping from 99.74 to 72 gave the lead to Darkhechiser ahead. So Darkhechiser still recovering some accuracy, taking the place of Senzawa right where they were before, but still not out of the woods yet. Those players are glued together in the last spurt.
Yeah, exactly. Senzawa pulling at the horns of the bull right here. This is exactly what Darkhechiser was banking on the whole match, but even then, the scoreline is still super close for what is going to be the final few seconds, but Darkhechiser has basically done it. Final few is rained down, and the final flam does go down 326 points to spare, and it is another point from the side of Darkhechiser getting that very needed break point to be able to bring themselves back to the equation and to be able to solidify yet another map that they're going to be needing right here. There's quite a bunch of options on the board left here.
Yeah, look at that ratio coming from Darkhechiser. So there's definitely like fine-tuned preferences from each of the players. Like Senzawa did have the ratio advantage on one or the other pick compared to Darkhechiser, but it really depends on the pick itself. So really have to be strategic from this point on.
Yeah, absolutely, because especially with what the rest of the coordination field has to offer, it is literally bloodbath after bloodbath here. Going to be either coordination 1 or coordination 2, and either of these maps are crazy difficult for how they are perceived. So I would not be surprised if we were to see something like Wildcard 3 or Density 2 being thrown out here, because those are probably one of the more safer picks, but at the same time, I'm not sure, because there's been a bunch of maps that we've seen Senzawa capitalize off of really well going into the whole match alone.
Yeah, just getting their marks, trying to strategize according to whatever's left, and their strategy is going to go towards wildcard number 3.
Ah, of course. Of course. You love to see it. You love to sneak. You love to see Snoop Dogg and Matt Poole. Oh boy.
Alright, are they gonna bust it or are they gonna blaze it? We'll know soon enough.
I mean, to be fair, Darkhechiser really just needs to keep the flow that they have been keeping on going throughout the whole previous few maps or so, because this is definitely a map that opens up for a lot of chokes that are going to be super intrusive. We can definitely see it with some of the grades that Senzawa is getting right over there. It's going to bring some score in favor of Darkhechiser here. Going to be running with that bag on the blanket here in their stick, but not going to be by so much either. Any moment they trip up over in this map with the rocks that are on the road, it's probably going to be over.
Yeah, very frightening pick for Darkhechiser here as Senzawa is catching back up at the speed of light, actually overtaking Darkhechiser despite that initial blunder.
All right, come on. Darkhechiser, despite everyone looking at him, is pretty strange right now throughout the previous few maps. He is here to literally say that he doesn't care, being able to prove everyone wrong, that he is the one that's going to be, that he is the hand that's going to be taking Senzawa down here, where in the point where it's going to be mattering the most, especially going out of that verse. Now the pre-chorus, few hundred points remain on either side as the score still flickers nonetheless. A small bias is occurring on the side of Darkhechiser, but how long can it last in that position, to be exact?
Yeah, like both of the players were trading back and forth. The accuracy drops here and there. Darkhechiser dropping here before the drop, but Senzawa not going out of here intact yet. Senzawa has been dropping some accuracy left and right here, dipping below 99.7 here. Kind of almost reaching Darkhechiser. No, oh no, that's no.
You're kidding! It was right at the end as well! There's a few foul points that it is Senzawa's favor as it goes to the very ending! It's probably already over before it even started! And as Senzawa goes for another FC run and concludes the life of Darkhechiser in the LN tournament, going to be making it just close to 990k! Oh my goodness, what could have been? Oh, what could have been, bro?
What could have been indeed. And if we compare those scores, Darkhechiser definitely caught more ill judgments towards the end, but perhaps like they caught a lot of those like those 300s and 200s towards the end after they missed, and I do feel like after they missed, it kind of just clicked that they just lost the entire match and the entire tournament.
Oh, that's such a heartbreaking way to go out as well. You've been maintaining every FC on each map that has been played up until this moment, and it's the final stretch that really breaks the nerve that was been keeping you intact up until this moment. Unfortunately for Darkhechiser, are going to be eliminated from the tournament as Senzawa advances into that quarterfinals weekend against Stereotype and Salutation. Oh, holy moly. That was unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just saying, Darkhechiser is blaming you still for your loss.
I'm sorry. I'll try and do better next time, okay? This is coming from OMLN4.
Yeah, soon to be OMLN4. Tune in quarterfinals to know more about the fate of OMLN3. Will OMLN4 surface from the depths of commentators' curses? We'll know soon enough. That's how the bracket looks like right now, and some of those matchups look really frightening, I dare say.
Absolutely, and we also got a bit of a rematch here on the top of the winners bracket here. Going to be Nepogen versus Spanner Dude, otherwise known as Team Momentum. They have faced in quarterfinals in the previous iteration of the LN tournament back in quarterfinals as well with a 6-1 victory to Nepogen here. So going to be really interesting to see as Team Momentum is kind of saying that they are going to be deep fried, but who knows? This is the point where heads are going to be turning right here in the quarterfinals, and I am ready to see it all unfold.
I believe in the power of Squiddy. I'm rooting for Squiddy.
No!
I'm putting all my pick'ems points on Squiddy.
Of course, you always got to do that. Oh, you're gonna lead him to forfeit, bro. You can't. He needs to be able to beat Taiwan in 40M. Otherwise, he's gonna crash out. Come on, man.
Yeah. Gotta get the victory here. Yeah, gotta get the victory battle royale, whatever the Fortnite kids say.
You gotta aim for that Reddit gold in the tournament, folks. But yeah, that aside. That is going to be it for this match. This was the final. This was the finale of the round of 16 as we had of the season in the LN tournament, but we still have so much jam-packed action waiting for you next week in the quarterfinals as we unveil the pool. Going to be tomorrow at around 15 UTC, I believe, if I remember correctly. So a bit of a different time than usual to kind of shake the norm a bit, but should be fair. It's still relatively early in the week regardless.
Yeah, like the shift in the time for the showcase definitely marks the boundary between the early game where I was still useful and the late game where I'm less useful, so to speak, as a map puller. But yeah, we'll see. We'll catch you tomorrow on Monday afternoon for the Europeans and Monday somewhere else for the rest of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been Epic Man, Free, and Potteroj, and we will see you in the next season of Dragon Ball Z. Thank you all very much, everyone. Take care.
Ew.